So this is a product that's all over like social media that I don't watch. I came across a thing on a video on YouTube about social media things, and thus I came across this. It seemed interesting, so I bought one because it wasn't too crazy expensive. For context, in the US, this is $65, but because I'm in Europe, I had to like pay for shipping and taxes, that whatever. So I ended up having to pay all the way up to 85, which is a lot more in context of the price range. So it's a plastic thing. It's fun, bright colors. It's designed largely for like kids to be able to play with, for just sort of fun, casual thing. It's not made for good photography. I mean, the sensor is like an old 8 megapixel, like cheap public security camera sensor. Like it's not a professional camera. It doesn't have almost any features, and so on. But that's kind of the point. It's meant to be a very simple camera that kind of is focused on being fun and focusing not on the camera but on the moment. So it does have a screen, aside from this one, that tells you how many photos you have taken. It doesn't have like any adjustments really. You can adjust how much volume the thing like makes. You can adjust if you want the flash on or off, and you can take a photo. And you can also adjust like the date and time, and that's about it. You can't really adjust anything else. So it's really really basic. It does have a viewfinder, so like you can kind of see what photos you're taking, but we'll get that later. For now, here's some photos that I have taken with this thing, and it has this like film effects. That's kind of the whole point. It's meant to have like a disposable camera look, so it has these like different filters. The ones I have kind of used so far are the vintage one, which is the default that came with it, and then also another one that is called 101 something. The vintage one is kind of like a darker, more realistic to the world, but kind of dark and contrasty and this kind of like old camera look. And then the other one is more of like a warmer, like a really warm, like kind of orangey yellowish hue to everything, which really has a kind of old film look of some particular film camera types, where everything is like really really warm, like the blue sky will look like a bit yellowish, etc. So it's a look, it's a vibe for sure. As for the actual presets and using them, you can actually make your own ones. So there's some default ones they provide, and they have like a website where you can make your own ones, and not just a few things like the brightness and etc. The color, how the colors balance out, stuff like that. You cannot adjust like grain or like the noise, anything like that. So it's a bit limited in that aspect, but the color and like the way it looks, you can adjust. And this creates a file, and all you have to really do is plug the camera into a PC or a phone, whatever you're using, and then copy the file on the top, like on top of like in your file manager on the top of the camera's like SD card directory. So it's not too complicated, but it does mean you have to like every time plug it into a device to be able to change how the photos look. There's no like dial or anything. They're talking about like a pro model that can do that, but this one can't. So that's not an option. However, I do much prefer this approach to like the app-based stupid nonsense that a lot of products are using nowadays. So it's good to see someone, first of all, giving the ability to customize these things, which I think is very valuable in the context of what this is. And also the ability to do that without relying on some stupid app. And to be able to change the things. Of course, the one thing is their modifying tool is on the website. So if they shut down that tool or decide that, or the company goes bankrupt, whatever, then you can no longer make custom presets after that. So that is a limitation because of the website approach. But you'll still keep all the downloaded presets you have already. So like you're not going to lose those because they're in your device. And I think that's the important part. The device will still work without any internet nonsense. And What else? Let's get to some of the ultra practical things. So first of all, plug it into a PC. This port has this like little I don't know how visible it is, but it has this like little flap. That thing sucks. Now, if you have proper fingernails, it's probably okay. But if you have a nail biting problem, as I do, then this is a pain in the ass. It sucks. So I have to like use tweezers. I have been able to open it with my fingers, but it takes a lot of effort. So I use tweezers to open it. I'm probably going to like cut it off or something. That does mean more like dust getting the port, stuff like that, but it's probably worth it because this opening this thing is bloody annoying. I would suggest if they make a revision of this to just like there's like beta traces above it that kind of you can kind of put your finger under. Problem is that like the like rubber is too soft, so that just kind of bends over, doesn't do anything. You need to be able to get your like nail under the actual thing. So I was just like making the rubber a bit more rugged, a bit harder, instead of this kind of like really soft rubber that just ends up like or really soft silicone that just kind of bends over. I don't know if this is visible, but it just kind of bends. It's not really. It's too soft. Uh, that's one critique. What else? Another critique I have, very small thing. This like switch, it's kind of loud. So it's a really cheap loud switch. I wish it was like quieter, more softer, like feel and sound. It just kind of feels annoying to like do something loud in public. Uh, the one thing they have added, like in some like the very first version didn't have this, but I think in the third version they implemented this, is you can turn off the camera volume. So like the shutter sound. And that's awesome. Very basic thing, but very useful. You have to unscrew this thing and then you can adjust that. You can adjust the like date and time, etc. You can adjust the volume, all that good stuff. So that's all doable. It's also easy to take apart, so you could take just like screw the back off and remove the speaker. Like that is the thing you can do, but I think it's easy enough to like open this and turn the thing off. It has the option now, so that's awesome. Aside from that, let's talk about the photo taking experience. So one thing is that the only way you're going to be seeing things is through this viewfinder, and I have found it pretty useless. Essentially, it doesn't have any markings on it, so it doesn't like tell you where the center is. It doesn't tell you where the edges of the photo are. Like what you actually see in the viewfinder is way wider than the actual photo you get. That also means it's really hard to center your photo based on the viewfinder because like it doesn't have like anything to guide your eye. Also, I wear like glasses, so like if I try to look into it, it's really hard to like get the center. And I actually like most of the time end up shooting way too far to one side or the other. It's really hard to center it with it because it doesn't have any like guides, anything like that. So, like it's cool if you want to like if you're a kid or like just don't really care about the composition that much. The viewfinder is totally usable. It's clear enough. It's a good plastic viewfinder. It's fine. It's just if you really want to get your composition right, I find it's either meaningless or more of a hindrance than a benefit. So just like something to note, it's not a proper like viewfinder with the markings and the guides and all that. Another thing that I want to mention is that the button, which I feel is an important part of the camera, is very clicky, like super clicky. So that is doesn't really feel like a real camera button, but it's fine. Just a small feeling detail. But with those things talked about and those things out of the way, let's talk about the actual photo experience. So when you take photos with this thing, you don't really get to customize anything. You get to set the filter in, and it kind of does its thing. So it's a very like free, fun experience. Just like kind of go out, you pull this out. It's really lightweight, so you can kind of have it in your pocket or whatever, no problem. You pull it out, you just like point at something, take a photo, and that's a really cool, good experience. Like in terms of the photo taking, it's not even your phone. You don't have to look at the screen because you don't have a screen. Um it just kind of eliminates out of control. So you can either just like focus on the moment, or you can focus on the composition and blindly like, if like blindly like figure out how that's made. It is really fun to like try to make good looking photos out of something that really isn't like technically very good. It is like an experience in its own right. With that, the photos themselves, I think the filters look quite good. The vintage one looks maybe a bit too dark. Like actually in like daylight, it looks fine. I don't have any daylight photos that I would want to share, but on the cloudy weather, as you see in these photos, that looks like it looks fine. The colors I think look quite close to reality actually, but a bit more contrasty, and but quite dark. If you like that look, it's certainly a look. I don't find it preferable. I find in that situation the like warmer preset, or the warmer like whatever they call it, the warmer filter. That one is much more preferable. It has more of like a filmic look to it. It doesn't look like a crappy old phone camera. It looks more like some types of film, which I think is kind of, it makes this camera feel more purposeful and more unique to do that than the default filter, which to me just looks like an old phone camera. So I like that. Uh, I do like that feeling. The vintage filter is a lot nicer in daylight. It actually looks like a type of film, a bit less warm, but warmer than reality. Like it has a nice look to it in daylight. But yeah, anyway, that's cool. But there's some things that I think this camera that's right and that does wrong. I think the colors are handled well. I think it, even though it's technically like kind of grainy and like noisy and low detail, I think the aesthetic fits that, and I think it actually isn't that bad. Like compared to like a phone camera with a similar sensor, in daylight it actually looks like pretty good. Like it has a good pressing. Also the noise pattern. Like sometimes on cameras, especially like lower, cheaper, shitty cameras, you get like this really nasty like purple noise pattern with like purple dots all over the place. I do not like how that looks. This doesn't. The noise pattern follows the colors of the image. So the way it's processed allows like keeps that look, and I think that is a like makes the noise and the grain look way better. So that is like a big positive in my books. Also, the God, I forgot what I want to say. Also, I think it's a good, getting back to that because I don't remember. I think it also has a good FOV. Like the aspect ratio of the photo looks pretty good. It's like a tiny, tall, wide photo. I think it looks good. I think it's a good, like good sort of photo. But there are also negatives to this camera, even considering its purpose and like how it works. It's a point and shoot, so you can't like control the exposure. You don't get raw files. You don't get any of that. So you want the exposure and stuff to look decent immediately. And I think that's one thing where the camera kind of falls short. It kind of exposure is all over the place. Like it doesn't have the same like dynamic range that like a modern phone camera would. The dynamic range is quite bad actually. So if you have like a bright light and a not so bright thing in different part of the photo, like it will look really dark. You can see it on this photo of Tesco sign. Like the sky is like, because the sun is kind of coming, even though it's cloudy, the sun is in direction behind the sign. You can see that the sky is like where it should be, but then the sign is really, really dark. Now you might like this in some situations, but you can't control it in any way. So you might not like it in other situations. Also, it's worse in some situations. Like take a photo of the staircase shot, for example. You can see that there's like more light down near the like entry hall, but like and then like less light up in like the stairs themselves. But the image way overexposes and ends up just like looking way bright, no detail from the hallway, because it's trying to make the darker stuff up where you are be visible, but that stuff is not the important part of the photo. It just ends up looking bad. Similarly, if you take like I have this shot from a long like alleyway in Cork, and you can see that one just like the sky behind it, even though it's cloudy, just like blows out everything down like the alleyway. So like it's a pretty shot otherwise, but the like exposure just kind of screws the whole thing up. So in some situations where you have like all of dark parts and light parts, like the dynamic range of this camera just like cannot handle it. And it often handles the exposure in my opinion the wrong way. I think it should go for darker as opposed to to brighter. But then sometimes it just goes dark for no reason. Like consider this photo of the Kirk like monument or whatever. Like this thing is just like so dark. I don't know why. Like and there's these photos of the flowers next to it, and these are like good brightness. These ones look great, but the or like this one looks great, but the bloody monument itself photo is so dark. I don't know why that is the case. So like it's just weird. Like some of the exposure handling. Also around the edges of the image, there's weird like distortion or not distortion but loss of focus. Like I don't know if it's due to lens correction or due to how it handles focus or some manual processing or whatever they are doing. But like the center of the photo will be centered, but on the edges always everything looks kind of look out of focus. Everything like kind of lacks the sharpness, lacks like kind of has like a blur to it. I don't know what's up with that. That's not perfect, but it's fine. It's not meant to be a good camera. That's not the point. And I think the photos do overall still look good, but these are my some specific critiques about it. And ultimately, like the whole styling, the whole like disposable camera look. Even if it isn't a technically good photo, it is a vibe. It is a feeling. It is what this camera is meant to be. One more thing. The focus on this camera is really weird. So I measured this with like some D&D dice and a measuring tape. It seems that the distance or the like focusing like depth focusing distance is like 6 centimeters or so, and that's quite a long distance actually. Like if you want to take a selfie on this, you have to like hold it all the way out as far as you can. Like you have to like do this to take a photo, and that's at my height, which is like an average man height. So if you're really short, you might not even be able to take like a focused selfie of yourself with this. It's quite a long distance. It also doesn't really have any like bokeh or any like background like distance blur. So it's really just kind of flat the whole focus range, like a phone would be or like an action camera would be, same thing. Except for very close by. So like you can very easily, even like relatively long distance, take the shot where you kind of get depth by taking a blurred thing in the front and then like clear things in the back. That you can do, but you can't. But if you want to take something close up, like a photo of this cup of tea, like that's going to be really blurred. That's just like it might look good in this scenario. Maybe like this style you want to go for. But if you want to get something where something close by is clear, doesn't work. You can get like an adapter that allows you to attach like a mobile lens to it, and then that will work. But aside from that, like yeah, the focus is quite a lot. It takes quite a long distance. That's something you should be aware of. If you're looking for photo quality, I don't think this will give you that. But if you're looking for just like casual, like something fun, something cool, something to give a kid, like without worrying about it breaking, because it's very simple hardware, it's just going to like break easily, aside from like scratches and stuff like that. Like that is a good thing for that. And also, if it's like one thing I've seen people like use these for is practicing composition. So just like not having the screen, not having all the effects, not being able to see the image immediately, and like kind of placing that restriction on yourself by limiting what your device can do. People apparently use this to like practice how to compose their photos, and I can see this being good for that kind of thing as well, because you do not like you really have to focus on that because you can't control anything else. That is a potential benefit in something like this, where you like don't have control, placing a limitation on yourself to practice something specific. That's pretty much that for the camera itself. But what should you get instead? Because obviously this thing has its place. If you want something fun that's just like cool, like this is cool, but you can also use a phone. On iPhones, there's an app called Mood.camera. It costs like 17 euros or something for a lifetime. And it's just like it's an app that allows you to have like film-like look on your iPhone photos. And those will have some examples here. Those will look way better than anything this makes in terms of like detail, in terms of exposure, in terms of all these technical things. It's still pretty point and shoot if you want to be. You can make your own custom like styles in that as well. And it will just like, you take a photo, it processes the photo in a few seconds, and then, you know, it will have like a film look to it, a film filter. So if you want to like take something with your phone pretty simply, that's one option. I think that's a really nice app. It does really good. I'm sure there's something similar for Android. Haven't used one, but I'm sure it's a thing. So that's something you might want to look into. And if you want to like not buffer with any of that, you can just like apply a filter in post yourself. Though that is more friction, more effort. But the point is like if all you want is like film looking photos, you do not need this. You can do it on your phone. I take a lot of photos on my iPhone with the Mood Camera app that have the film look. I love it. It's so good. I might make a video on that later. It's awesome, but this camera is not going to do that. It's not as good at technical stuff. But if you want to have a separate physical device from your phone, something that's just really fun, has like a fun design, colors, like doesn't give you all the tools, you want to limit yourself to some things maybe for practice or whatever, or you just again enjoy the point and shoot without even like looking at the screen as you would in your phone, not even having those options available. If you want to have like, if you want to also have like a technical like worse quality of the photo as a part of like the aesthetic, then this is awesome. And overall, like it allows you to detox and like separate yourself from a phone to take photos, and it allows you to have like a good looking photo without being technically good. And I think that's a cool perspective in many aspects. I probably will be using this thing alongside my phone with Mood Camera, but I probably will be using this thing for some things. Like I'll probably be going traveling in a few weeks. I'll probably take some photos with this because why not? It's fun. But it is worth considering. Do you really need a separate device? Do you want a separate device? Is this really what, is this a form factor that you want? Would you prefer this over your phone with an app that does a similar thing with the film filters? Because the photos in your phone will be technically superior photos, and like aside from the screen being there, it can be as simple as like initially setting the correct filter you want and then just pressing the shutter button in your phone. That's up to you what you prefer, but that's it. Goodbye.